selling your home on your own or through your local realtor, please give us a call at 824-8007 for all your title work needs.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome in to the WTIM, your information station. My name is Tim Zalabak. It's time now for this edition of the WTIM Morning Show. My name is Tim Zalabak, your host. Let's thank our sponsors that make it all possible. Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better at Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I switched up the combination right there, and I did not mess it up, so we thank God for that. Valerie Belusco is on my line today. Miss Valerie Belusco is the University of Illinois Extension Community and Economic Development Educator. How are you today, Valerie?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing super well. Thank you so much for taking the time and calling in today. We got to get informed on community and economic development because so much there is to learn. And you just went to a meeting for all of you that have economic and development concerns. So tell me about this meeting and maybe things before that made it a little bit difficult to get to this meeting.
So our team, our U of I Extension Community and Economic Development team, we like to get together in person at least once a year just to focus on reviewing what we did last year, making plans for the next year, looking for different ways we can collaborate, and then looking, and usually we have some kind of a speaker or an educator or someone from a different state extension come in just to share some new tips, tricks, those kind of things for educating communities, what's working for them and things that we might want to try. So that is where I just was the last 3 days. I was up in Monticello at the beautiful Allerton Park. The weather was perfect, but that also kind of made it challenging.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a very important meeting to get to. It sounds like you guys get a lot done there. Tell me a little bit about what was going on to make it a little bit difficult getting out there.
Well, first of all, the weather was great, right?
Yeah.
Who in the world wants to sit in meetings for 3 days?
Not me.
And you have weather gorgeous in November.
Yeah. Right.
Right? It makes it a little difficult. I think we can all come up with probably a dozen excuses for why we would rather be anywhere than stuck inside a building talking and sitting all day. That's definitely one thing. The other things, I've kind of talked to you about this before. As a busy mom, my husband and I, we both work full time. We have children. They are involved in everything. We have a farm with both crops and cattle.
Jeez. And,
arranging our schedules can be a nightmare sometimes. We're always prioritizing and trying to figure out who can be where and when. And so it can be a little challenging to take 3 days off to leave. And to step away from it all and really to devote time and energy into myself for 3 days. That's what I was doing. But it's so hard to do that. And I know I'm not the only person that thinks this way, that has the same challenge. So it's difficult and it's a hard choice to make, to go, to not go, to go part of the time. But I'm so glad I went. And I usually do attend these, but this year it just seemed to be necessary not only to learn from my colleagues and learn from colleagues from other states, but also to kind of refresh and rejuvenate why I do the work I do and the feelings that I have towards the work I do. Because sometimes we get caught in a rat race.
Yeah. And
we start to lose our drive and our momentum, and it just seems like every day is hard. But events like this can really help spark that fire again.
Yeah, without a doubt. You mentioned right there, you had to take a little bit of a sacrifice and maybe do something that you didn't want to do at the time. Now we're using this entire meeting kind of as a metaphor for anyone in their daily life. But you did it. You made that sacrifice. You took the 3 days, and tell me the outcome. How do you feel coming out of it?
I feel great. I feel energized. I was so excited to come into work today. I am incredibly excited for actually my schedule that I have for the next 2-3 weeks, because I have that passion again. It's really hard to describe unless you have been, I think, in a position where you kind of get caught on that daily wheel, just that, running that treadmill or, running the same thing over and over and over. And you stop to see the big picture because you're so hyper focused on all the little things. But coming together with my colleagues to look at how all these little pieces really fit together and have big impacts was just amazing.
Yeah. Just reigniting that passion. You kind of said that, and it's a really important thing to have, but it can be hard for a lot of professions. I feel like you're speaking to me right now, because for me, when I get to go out and I report on something in the community, that right there, it tells me exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that breaks up the monotony of the everyday. And you got to have these experiences to find that passion again, I feel like.
Well, and it can be really hard for people. Not everyone can take 3 days off,
right?
To go and leave and have a meeting with their colleagues. And that's one of the really neat things about extension. So if you are in a field that deals with any kind of community or economic development, so any kind of nonprofit, any kind of government, any kind of leadership position, business, industry, if you're in any of those areas or fields, you can invite extension in to do a training or to do a program that would help reignite whatever kind of flame needs to be lit again within a time frame that best suits you. So I have done programs, in the middle of the day, in the evening, on the weekends, and we also fit our programming into your needs. So if you only have an hour, but you have people that are willing to say, listen, we're going to come together over our lunch hour and we're going to meet at this location and we're going to learn a little bit about how we can better interact with our clients and each other to make things work smoother, call me in. Yeah. Let's give it an hour. Let's light that flame. Let's devote and make some time to build up those little things in ourselves that we sometimes forget about.
Sure. For the other members of the community and economic development team, it seems like you guys had one of your own, reigniting with this meeting, it seems. So that's funny that, you guys that met up for that meeting had it done to yourself. And now immediately you're like, we got to be, this is what you do with your University of Extension. You guys are here to help. So now, I mean, you guys have even more of a drive to go out and help other people in the community, it sounds like.
100%. Yes. And I always like to say the way I do my programming is very rarely do I say, here's a class I'm going to teach, here's where I'm going to teach it, and this is how many hours it will be. I ask the community to tell me, what do you want? Yeah. What works for your schedule? Don't let me pick the time, because if I pick the time, that might not be the time that you need that works best for you. And what's important is that you can kind of fill your own cup with that learning experience and be reinvigorated and motivated. So it's not necessarily good for me to pick a time. Right. So you pick a time, you call me, you tell me, where should I be? What location makes sense for you? And I'll come to you and we'll work through it.
Sure. And you mentioned this is not a one-size-fits-all service at all, and you're really great with the flexibility you're offering, because there's probably so many different organizations that could use help. You mentioned businesses that maybe deal with clients, but I'm sure there are other organizations out there that maybe aren't dealing with selling or client-based things. And can you give me any examples of businesses or organizations that you could reinvigorate?
Well, so community and economic development is such a broad field.
Sure.
It's really hard to say, here's what we do in, a 1 or 2 sentence summary. Right. We really deal with everything from how do you find the data collection you need to reports, make decisions for your business, write grants, those kind of things. And then the next minute we'll be working on something that's more like emerging issues and how are we making sure that our budget and budget planning is really going to fall in line with what we hope to accomplish in the future. So we're thinking about community plans, strategic plans, and we will come in and facilitate those. We will talk about energy and the transition to energy and how that's such a large field and an important field right now in Illinois because of the financial incentives that are coming down the way. And so how can you best utilize that for your business, your farm, those kind of things? Sure. The list can just go on and on. Yeah. And what I always tell people is, if you have something that you want assistance with, I might not know that subject matter, but I guarantee you I know someone who knows that subject matter and is an expert in that subject matter, and I will get them here.
Right. And that's even more, and that can be just as valuable as knowing the information yourself. You know where to go to get the information. And yeah, the question I asked there, of course, there's so much nuance to your job. At one moment, you could be dealing with, the marketing side, and at another point, you could be dealing with, getting incentives for, things like solar and wind. And being informed on that is the first step to finding success with community and economic development. Valerie, we're going to take our first short little break here, but I've had a great time with this conversation so far. We learned about the meeting you went to and why you went to and why it was so important to get to it. When we come back, we're going to talk more about community and economic development education, of course, with Valerie Belusco, a community and economic development educator with the U of I Extension. My name is Tim Zalabak, your host of the WTIM Morning Show. We'll be right back.
Your information station, WTIM.
Hey farmers, our environment-friendly liquid fertilizer will help you stretch that fertilizer dollar further, a lot further, without compromising on results. Experience application versatility, lower input cost, and healthier crop yields. Don't just fertilize, mineralize. Product and crop protocol information is available at blackcoralminerals.com. blackcoralminerals.com.
Support the Lincoln Land Community College Foundation, and you help student Brianne Dernovich give a lifetime of beauty to others.
Working full-time for a wonderful couple in Taylorville while a full-time student has been tough, but generous donors to the foundation made a scholarship possible that lifted the financial burden, inspiring me to pursue a business degree and chase my dream of being a professional florist. Thank you for letting me blossom.
Give a lifetime by supporting the Lincoln Land Community College Foundation. Donate at llccfoundation.org.
Hi, this is Kendall Jones with People's Bank and Trust, and I'm here to share information about our Save by Spending programs. Save by Spending Roundup, where we round up your debit card purchase to the next dollar, then put that change in your savings account. Also, our Save by Spending Rewards program. You can earn cash back on all qualifying signature-based debit card purchases. Call 888-PBT-1954 and learn more about our Save by Spending programs. At People's Bank and Trust, we put you and your savings first. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
At Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, we want you to be a part of the program as well via the Archer's Alley Catch of the Week. Each week, we'll select one of your pictures submitted at centralillinoisoutdoors.com and invite you to tell your story of the great outdoors. We're looking for your kid's first catch or even your first big buck. There's a simple, easy form you can fill out on your phone or computer at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. Send us your story, send us your pic. centralillinoisoutdoors.com and the Catch of the Week, brought to you by Archer's Alley, North 22nd Street in Decatur.
Hello, Panther fans. This is the voice of the Eastern Illinois University Panthers, Mike Brad, inviting all of our fans in Taylorville, Shelbyville, Effingham, and Eastern Illinois to listen for Panther football on your information station, WTIM, on its many platforms on AM, FM, and online. Hear the Panthers as they compete in the Ohio Valley Conference. Follow the Panthers this season on your information station, WTIM, on AM, FM, and online.
Craig's Realtors continues to be the market leader in 2023. I'm Steve Craigs. It's a seller's market. If you're considering selling, click on our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Find out about all the products and services offered by Dan Rizzo, your American Family Insurance agent in Taylorville, by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm your host, Tim Zalabak. Thank you all for being here with us. Let's thank our sponsors that make the show possible. People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better at Landmark. On my line right now is Valerie Belusco, University of Illinois Community and Economic Development educator. It was a great conversation for that first half. And now, Valerie, if I want my business or organization to get in contact with you for your great services, how can we get a hold of you? What would we need to do?
I mean, the easiest way is to just give me a call. And I have my main office located in Hillsborough, but I do have offices in all 4 counties. This is just the easiest number to reach me at, and that is 217-532-3941.
Beautiful. And, maybe more people might need your services than we may think, because years in business does not equate to knowledge in business. Is that right?
Yes. That is exactly right. So it's kind of funny. We usually, when talking to people, especially business owners, we'll have somebody who has maybe been running their business for 30 years very successfully, and they definitely know the ins and the outs of their business. But sometimes they're not thinking about little things, little nuances that could actually make their business better, or help them retain employees, or help them think about succession planning, help them think about how to get the most value out of their business when it is time to sell their business.
Right.
So having an open mind and realizing that it's never too late to learn, and that learning should be continual in order to just be the best person and manage the best business you can manage, is incredibly important.
Yeah. And you come in with information. You come in with probably some goals for people, and you're only there to make their business better. But do you ever get any pushback from someone who's been in business doing the same thing for a long, long time, and it is really time to change the way they do things? Do you get some disagreement?
Yes. Most, in the past, and we're talking, over the past nearly 10 years
Sure.
that I've been at this, I have had people tell me that when Apple came out with the little chip that you could put in your phone to run credit cards, they said absolutely not. They would not consider that. And I thought, why? You're missing out on opportunity to get money. Easy grabs.
Yep.
But it was just something that they were so uncomfortable with. They thought it was an extra expense and an unnecessary expense. And sometimes you can present all of the information, all of the data that shows this would be a good step for you to make, a good transition for you to make, and they still don't want to do it. And that's okay. Everybody gets to make their own choices.
Yeah.
But we're here to offer new ideas, to help have rough conversations, to help have real conversations and really prepare and plan and make things better. We always come in with the way we handle things from a research-based perspective. So we will show you the research. We will show you why we think this is the best. But in the end, of course, you can take what you want to out of that conversation or out of that lesson or program. There might be certain things that fit you better than other things. Yeah. And that's what's wonderful.
Right. Yeah. Your word is not law at the end of the day, but I mean, you might be foolish to not take your advice. I mean, you're coming in with hard figures, hard numbers. You mentioned like the card reader. Was that like the chip card reader, or for like phone Apple Pay reader that they weren't liking too much?
That was the old chip one.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And imagine, I mean, look at how big that got, right? You just insert your card now. That's pretty much how you pay everywhere.
Absolutely everywhere. So it's no big deal. But for some people, it was really scary. Yeah. It was an extra expense or thing that they thought would break, or somebody would be able to like hack into and steal information. And there's always worries like that with change. There's always a million things that could go wrong. but you have to have your cost benefit analysis, and you have to say, okay, here's what could go wrong, here's what could go right, and here's how it could be helpful. So what chances and changes am I willing to make? And you wouldn't ever know that unless you decided you were going to be a continual learner and always look for new ideas.
Without a doubt. Valerie, we're running really close to the end here. Any last words for our listeners?
Just never say never,
Mm-hmm.
and remember that those meetings, they can be important and reinvigorating.
Love it. Valerie, thank you so much for taking the time today. All right, that was Valerie Belusco, a University of Illinois Community and Economic Development educator. My name is Tim Zalabak, your host of the WTIM Morning Show. Thank you all for listening.
Your information station, WTIM.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Things got heated